Thunder's Mouth Theatre presents Super Helen 2. Who's in charge here? Season 7 of the audio fiction comedy podcast Am I Old Yet? I decided the season needs a title of its own. Now, if you remember, in Season 6, after Helen discovered that she and some stray dogs had the ability to blow litter off the streets up into the sky, she also discovered that having tons and tons of human-created rubbish floating about in space wasn't necessarily a good idea. And in episode 5 of Season 6, some wacky scientist came up with an idea for dealing with it. Helen's new friend, the Greek goddess Artemis, and her dog Hermes are providing, support, while her daughter Janey agrees to take Helen home from the safe house in the country. Enjoy.
Helen? Hello, it's Misha. Oh, it's been such a challenge trying to find your new telephone number, but Susan gave it to me just before she left for Australia. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. I'm so glad she did. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Well, I have had a very interesting time. I won't take up your time. I just wanted to tell you I've been in touch with those people from the Atlanta Institute for Digitized garbage collection. You remember?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the ones working on street litter collection machines that send it up to satellites. At least that's what they'd like to do.
Oh, yes. It sounded quite daft. Although not as daft as finding that stray dogs can do it already.
Indeed. And we know how that came about. Clever of you.
Oh, hardly. I had no idea I could pass on that particular skill, if you can call it that, to a dog, and that he would share it with his doggy community around the country, although, to be fair, it wasn't actually me. I was simply the means of access, apparently.
Well, it was all for the best, really.
Really? Piles of human litter floating around the earth, polluting space like we've polluted the oceans?
Well, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. I managed to get in touch with Professor Steinbeck at the Atlanta Institute, and we've come up with what we think is a good plan for dealing with all that litter that's been sent up into the upper atmosphere by the dogs. So, we've made I've been able to help them with some calculations, and they've decided to abandon the project for collecting the litter from the streets because the dogs seem to have figured out a way to do that by howling it up into the sky in a very focused trajectory that does not interfere with the aeroplanes. And so the people at Atlanta are focusing on developing the satellite collection process where they will gather the litter that's up there and compress it into containers, which at least takes care of that problem. So, well done.
Well, I don't know about that. I wouldn't call it well done at all. It's a total mishmash. I don't know what possessed me.
Mishmash, Misha, whatever. Well, something possessed you, that's for sure.
Yes, and I think I do know who or what it is.
Really? Don't tell me it's those ancient Greek gods.
All right, I won't tell you it's those ancient Greek gods.
But it is.
Well, there you go. And all the time we thought it was just a story.
Well, it is just a story, but it's one that seems to have some content to it. Am I right?
Well, you're not wrong. Anyway, thanks so much for doing that. That has taken a bit of weight off my mind.
Yes, but the thing is, I have to ask you, this only happening here in the United Kingdom so far. Do you have any way of getting it to happen around the world? Not all at once, of course, while the Atlantic people are getting themselves sorted. So I thought, I don't know if it's possible, but now that Susan is in Australia, I thought you might ask your friends, those Greeks bearing gifts, if they could arrange for Susan to spread the word so to speak.
Oh, well, I'll see what I can do. One can but ask, I suppose. I must have mentioned I do have contacts on the African continent and in America.
So what do you say? We'd need to space it out in some way. Not everywhere at once, of course.
How about you let me know? Or get Dr. What's his name? Oh, Professor Larry. Get him to contact me and tell me when to, step it up again.
Yes, indeed. And you're well?
Oh, yes, I've been out of town while all the fuss died down. I'll be going home soon.
Then I would love to meet up for a coffee.
Oh, yes, that would be so good. Did you hear that?
I did.
Well, what do you think? Can we do it? Can we pass the gift to Susan in Australia and to Ade in Nigeria? See if they can get their local canine colleagues to shift some rubbish.
I don't see why not. Ask Hermes.
Oh, so Hermes is in charge of the dogs.
Of course.
But can she manage for them to be a bit more selective? Maybe just shift the plastic? That'd be good. Because a lot of the rubbish is still compostable. We don't want to waste them.
Good. Now that is a good thought. Now you are thinking positively.
I'm thinking positively? You could have done this in the first place. What were you thinking?
Well, it was Demeter's idea to get you involved. She just asked me to bring Hermes on board. The dogs was Hermes' idea.
Oh, come on. You don't get away with passing the buck. Happy, you will never know how much. How long now?
About an hour. I've asked John to go over about an hour to turn on your heating in the flat.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, and I gave him a casserole and some veggies to get you started.
Oh, thanks. That's very kind of you.
And the dog will meet you there? Why wouldn't he come in the car?
She, girl dog.
Funny name for a girl dog.
Well, tell me a name for a girl dog that is not inherently funny.
Good point. But isn't it dangerous? Stray dog wandering all the way down to London?
I very much doubt she's travelling on foot or paws. She has winged sandals at her disposal,
Oh,
you know.
yes, I hadn't thought of that. Oh, well, I shan't worry about her then.
No. To be honest, I'm more concerned about this proposed fundraising masked ball at the Savoy Hotel that I'm supposed to be attending.
Oh, should be fun.
No, it's work. I have to be there for a reason. And I have to wear this particular ball gown.
Balenciaga, didn't you say? How are you going to get one of those?
Oh, Artemis has it all planned. She found it in a charity shop, and she's having it adjusted to fit me. How she's doing that without my actual body being present, I have no idea. But apparently it once belonged to the mother of the current Minister for Business and Trade.
Well, John is terribly excited about it. He's applied for the tickets, and Deji is going with Shola. You'll have a lovely time.
No, I'll be terrified. This is really important, and I am not equipped for things like this. What if I stuff it up?
If you stuff it up, Mum, you will do so gloriously.
I've no doubt about that.
Reports are coming in of some exciting new discoveries regarding the new strain of poppy plants that mysteriously appeared a few months ago. Here's the World Service Science reporter, Marilyn Johnson. Now, Marilyn, apparently this report comes from an article that's just been published in New Science magazine. Is that correct?
Yes, it is, Heather, and apparently it's a young science researcher based at the University of Essex who's been working with this new strain of the poppy plant, and the study that she's conducted into the effects of the new drugs that are now being produced from the poppy seeds seems to show that they are actually showing promise in slowing down the effects of dementia. dramatically slowing it down. Now this is something that the world has been waiting for a very long time, and I'm sure our listeners will be pleased to know that this study has been picked up by other laboratories and pharmaceutical companies all around the world, so we're hoping for some positive news.
Oh, well, that sounds very promising. But is there any chance that these new drugs will be on the market or available on the National Health Service anytime soon?
Well, you see, that's the extraordinary thing. These studies are so remarkably positive, and it's all happening with the new technology developed by the people who worked on the coronavirus vaccines. So it appears that it could possibly be available in a very short space of time, maybe months rather than years.
And what can you tell us about this particular researcher who's made these remarkable discoveries?
Well, her name is Katia Vinso. Apparently, she's a PhD student who was, she dropped out of her studies in quite mysterious circumstances a couple of years ago, possibly as a result of Brexit, and then suddenly reappeared and took up where she left off with the encouragement of her supervisors, and she had the idea of investigating this particular strain of poppies, so they didn't see any harm and they gave her her head. So it's just taken her a few months to do a lot of work, and she's managed to involve people all over the world in doing the research and trying this vaccine out. So she's been able to get government support to fund this worldwide project, and we're hoping it will be available soon. Watch this space, as they say.
Well, that's so nice to have a good news or potentially a good news story. Thank you very much, Marilyn Johnson, World Service Science Reporter. And now to the sports news. John, what have you got for us? Liverpool moving up the league again?
That was Home Again, Jiggety Jig, episode 3 of season 7. Now then, you've made it this far, so I can only assume you're enjoying it. And that being so, please be kind. Tell your mates about it. Maybe they'd enjoy it too. And if you would like to contribute to the production costs and help me to build up a kitty so that I can pay my guest actors, that would be a great kindness. In this episode, you heard Ira Seidenstein as Misha, Christopher McDougall as Hermes the dog, and me, Floyd Kennedy, as Helen, Artemis, Janey, Heather the World Service presenter, and Marilyn the World Service science reporter. All three of us would greatly appreciate anything you care to leave under the plate, as we used to say back in the day, in the olden days. Donations can be made at the website amioldYet.com/support. Thank you so much for listening. Stay safe.